Hi. So, triggers are cool. I do like them. You know what they're not, though? They're not a core practice for many people who do erotic hypnosis. This might come as a surprise. After all, triggers feature prominently in every stage hypnosis show. Triggers are always the tip of the hypnotic spear whenever hypnosis is mentioned on TV or in a movie. And significantly, triggers are super important to mind control erotica. But there's a reason I've saved discussing them until we're this deep in the series, and I barely mention them at all in my erotic hypnosis play shops. But if you were to get involved in the online hypnosis community, you'll find, for all the cultural reasons I've just mentioned, people talk a lot about triggers, and there are a lot of misconceptions about them. You get the impression that all any of us ever does is go from trigger to trigger. It's just not true. But let's get into it now. So, as I've said before, we hypnosis people love a trope. Because of this, we all tend to use the same trigger words when building our triggers. Particularly dumb hypnotists who have no clue how hypnosis works will try to take advantage of this tendency and just randomly fire common triggers at subjects they've only said a few words to in the hope something will happen. Mostly what happens is the subjects will get annoyed and possibly outraged at the consent violation. In a perfect world, they'll just be mildly amused by the stupidity of the hypnotists who try it. Most of the time, the attempt will be entirely ineffectual. The problem is, if the subject is, as I called it in a much earlier video, overprimed for hypnosis, they might actually be vulnerable to this scattershot approach, which is a shame because if the triggers are framed to belong to the subjects themselves, or less benignly, at least to the persons who originally gave them the triggers, they'd realize triggers aren't magic words at all. If the triggers were constructed the right way, and yes, there is a right way, they'd always have agency over the triggers except under very limited, carefully designed conditions. Also, if the trigger hasn't been used in a while, it'll stop being effective through a process called extinguishment. So let's talk about the right way to build triggers in ways to ensure the subject's safety. What do you think?